Welcome to the Digital Moneta channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Apex Trader, and we are going to be going live now that we've done our 50 trade test to make sure that it performed the way we would expect. So let's go ahead and dive into this and take a look at our test period. Now what we like to generally do is before we try a new strategy, a new platform, anything along those lines, is we prefer to get at least 50 trades worth of testing, basically paper trading, not actual live trades, so we can get a feel for if our system will actually work or the new system will actually work with what we're trying to do. We went ahead about 7 days ago and purchased a 30-day subscription on the Apex bot trader. And in doing so, it took about 7 days for 50 trades to actually be executed to fulfill our testing requirements. And we can actually see the 50 completed trades as we scan down through here. But overall, within the 50 trades, our results ended up being 66% wins, 34% losses. What that basically equates to is there were 33 wins and 17 losses, and most of those losses came in chunks on crashes within the market. And that's typical. When there's a crash, you're going to take some hits. So as long as you are outperforming the rest of the time, you should be ahead. And what your goal ought to be, and this is going to be based on your risk ratio. So if you have a 1-to-1 ratio, you need to be right at least 50% of the time in order to be profitable. Now, if you can make your risk ratio 2-to-1, so you're risking 2 for every 1 you're willing to lose, now you only have to be right about 33% of the time. In this test, we show to be 66% profitable. So we feel good on actually activating this bot and letting it run live. What we'll probably end up doing is allowing this batch to go ahead and cycle through today and see if we can add to our test. And then probably later today or early tomorrow, we'll go ahead, clear everything out, and turn this bot on live. And if you jump over to performance, you can actually get a little more detail and see that, you know, the actual wins 19-3. There's the down day 6-10. Most of the other times it's pretty normal trades. And if we just jump over to our basic settings to give you all an idea of how we had it set up, we're in test mode. We will be turning this to live. We want some of those others to go ahead and clear. We're using BTC as our base currency. We're using our strategy of RSI and Bollinger Bands, which we'll go into a little more detail here in a moment. During the test period, we just had it allocate 0.1 Bitcoin with a 10% position allocation, which would equate to this minimum of 0.01 per trade. We will actually, once we go live, bump this up to a balance equal to around $1,000. So what we'll end up doing is another test run in live mode for probably another 50 trades. Once we see success there, then we'll fund the account with quite a bit more BTC. Minimum number of open positions was 50. Right now I think we only have about 30 plus coins identified that we've done our technical analysis on, so this 50 more than covers those numbers, the number of coins we have available. The number of open positions per symbol per coin is 1. We only want 1 open position per coin. Then your API keys are filled in, and then down here is where we actually are able to select how many coins. And what is really nice about the Apex bot is for the $35, you could select every coin available on Binance, but in our case, given that we're running our strategy, we would prefer to actually manually do some back testing on these coins before we actually select. We can see as we scroll through some of the coins we have selected. And again, all of these coins we have actually done some testing on, so we have an idea of how they should perform. Now, keep in mind, past performance is not necessarily what future performance is going to be. So we do take all of our back testing with a grain of salt, that, you know, it won't always perform the way that we had seen in previously. But we can scroll through here and see. Now, what we really should do right now is go ahead and take 0x out of this equation. That's another important thing to do, is when a coin gets added to like Coinbase, they're going to get a pump up. Well, there's typically a pretty good pull down on those as well afterwards. So we're going to take 0x off for a little while and let it shake out. We will add it back into our coins, as it's been a great performer for us over the past several months on Crypto Hopper and what have you. So it'll get added back, but for right now we're taking it off, since we're probably going to see it shake out after the news of being added to Coinbase Pro. And now we'll go ahead and jump over to our strategy. We basically only have one strategy set up with the Apex Trader. That is one of the pretty amazing features, is they would actually allow us to have multiple strategies that we could actually set up and let the bot monitor it. So we'll go ahead and click on our strategy. We just kind of labeled it, let us know how we want the strategy to work. It was kind of a new strategy for us as well. So when we get down to the actual settings, I'll kind of go over that. So we're just running with your standard candles in a bearish market. We don't have any multiple strategies, a collection of them or anything. We just have the one strategy, so none of that really applies. We're buying on the last tick rather than a trailing buy. Given the strategy, that'll make sense. Order type, we generally go with market. We don't really do a limit orders. We only want that order to stay open for about 9 minutes. That should be more than enough time to get into the position. And then we have a 15-minute cooldown period once the coin has been activated. And then if partial fills happen, when can the bot start selling the coins? We want to let it wait at least 9 minutes to see if we can get a complete fill on the position before it starts trading out of the position. Sell type is a trailing sell. We want it to arm at 2.49%. So once it's gone up 2.49%, we'll go ahead and let it sell, but because it's in the trailing mode, it will actually follow that up until it at least retracts back 0.49%. And once it comes back that 0.49%, it will then actually execute the sell. And that is kind of why we do the trailing sell, so we can take advantage of the momentum up if it's still going up, rather than just tapping out at the 2.49. We do have a stop loss. It's imperative if you're day trading to have a stop loss. If you're investing, you still should have a stop loss, but especially if you're day trading. And right now we have that set at 2.49%. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. And since we're at the 66% accuracy, we're well within the profit zone with this 1-to-1 setting. We are going to be doing some testing where we try to get this to a 2-to-1 ratio. At that point, we would only have to be right approximately 33% of the time and still be profitable. But right now we're running a 1-to-1 ratio on that. And then disable system after it stops out for 15 minutes, again about half a candle. I don't want to get into something that's actually fallen. So the buy indicators actually trigger our strategy, and the first one we have set up is Bollinger Bands. It is required to be met in order to place a buy using 30-minute candles. The deviation down is currently set at 2. Some of our other bots run at 2.5. This one did pretty well at 2. Time period of 20. Moving average is a smooth moving average, SMA. And this is a little different setting for us. In the past, it was once it broke below, along with the RSI breaking below. But we have actually changed the strategy to try to be more of a momentum trend up before we get in. So we've set price cross above. So now it's got to move back above the lower Bollinger Band. And that should indicate movement upwards, trending up. So we have modified this to detect once the price crosses above the lower Bollinger Band to initiate a buy. And then the other indicator required, so we have 2 required indicators in order for a buy to occur, is 30-minute candles, oversold threshold of 20 on a 7 time period. So traditionally what we had it set was once it crossed below the oversold, go ahead and initiate a buy signal. And so once it comes down and dips below the 20 and then starts its way back up, it must cross over the 20. That should indicate a trend of moving upwards. And those are the two buy indicators that we require the system to run on. So that would wrap up kind of the basic strategy. And to give you an idea of what we're looking at with those Bollinger Bands and the RSI, we'll jump over here to TradingView. And we can see a couple of situations where the movement dips down below the Bollinger Band and dips down below the RSI. And then we are looking for it to break back above the oversold line and the Bollinger Bands. So in this case, we'd get back in once it gets above the Bollinger Band, the lower Bollinger Band, and above the RSI, and ride that for a 2.5% profit if it becomes available, and it does, I think, right on, if not, I'm pretty sure on the wick of the green candle. If not, it definitely rides it up on the wick of this red candle, which opens here, heads up, and then comes all the way back. But we definitely get out there. I think we saw QKC. We had a couple winners on it and one loser, probably back a little further. And then here again we get in on the RSI, dips just below that 20, comes back just above the Bollinger Band, and then on the very next candle we'd get stopped out as a win. And so I think we'll go ahead and wrap this video up. We just wanted to give you all an update on how the Apex Trading Bot has been working during our test period. And like I said, we'll probably be going live with it tomorrow and doing an update shortly thereafter on how it's actually trading live. So if you liked the video, do us a favor and spike that like button. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. Also, please feel free to leave a comment. We try to respond to all comments. And until next time, lock in those profits, and we'll see you in the next video.